Nuclear War Survival Skills, page 78. The first runoff will contain most of the radioactive material that can be dissolved from fallout particles deposited on the drainage area. Runoff after the first few heavy rains following the deposit of fallout is not likely to contain much dissolved radioactive material or fallout. Number 6. Water collected from fallout contaminated roofs. This would contain more fallout particles than would the runoff from the ground. Number 7. Water obtained by melting snow that has fallen through air containing fallout particles or from snow lying on the ground onto which fallout has fallen. Avoid using such water for drinking or cooking if possible. Water from wells. The wells of farms and rural homes would be the best sources of water for millions of survivors. Following a massive nuclear attack, the electric pumps and the pipes in wells usually would be useless. Electric power in most areas would be eliminated by the effects of electromagnetic pulse, EMP, from high altitude bursts, and by the effects of blast and fire on power stations, transformers, and transmission lines. However, enough people would know how to remove these pipes and pumps from wells so that bale cans could be used to reach water and bring up enough for drinking and basic hygiene. How to make a simple bale can is illustrated in figure 8.10. An ordinary large fruit juice can will serve if its diameter is at least 1 inch smaller than the diameter of the well casing pipe. A hole about 1 inch in diameter should be cut in the center of the can's bottom. The hole should be cut from the inside of the can. This keeps the inside of the bottom smooth, so it will serve as a smooth seat for a practically watertight valve. To cut the hole, stand the can on a flat wood surface and press down repeatedly with the point of a sheath knife, a butcher knife, or a sharpened screwdriver. The best material for the circular, unattached valve shown in figure 8.10 is soft rubber, smooth and thin, such as inner tube rubber. Alternately, the lid of a can about 3/4 an inch smaller in diameter than the bale can may be used, with several thicknesses of plastic film taped to its smooth lower side. Plastic film about 4 mils thick is best. The bale, which is the handle of a bale can, should be made of wire with a loop at the top to which a rope or strong cord should be attached. Filling time can be reduced by taping half a pound of rocks or metal to the bottom of the bale can. Removing fallout particles and dissolved radioactive material from water. The dangers from drinking fallout contaminated water could be greatly lessened by using expedient settling and filtration methods to remove fallout particles and most of the dissolved radioactive material. Fortunately, in areas of heavy fallout, less than 2% of the radioactivity of the fallout particles contained in the water would be dissolved in water. Would become dissolved in water. If nearly all the radioactive fallout particles could be removed by filtering or settling methods, few casualties would be likely to result from drinking and cooking with most fallout contaminated water. Filtering. Filtering through earth removes essentially all of the fallout particles and more of the dissolved radioactive material than does boiling water distillation. A generally impractical purification method that does not eliminate dangerous radioactive iodines. Earth filters are also more effective in removing radioactive iodines than are ordinary ion exchange water softeners or charcoal filters. In areas of heavy fallout, about 99% of the radioactivity in water could be removed by filtering it through ordinary earth. To make this simple, effective filter shown in figure 8.11, the only materials needed are those found in, and that was the end of the page. Here is figure 8.10. Lower part of an expedient bale can. The unattached, caged, which means caged, valve can be made of a material that does not have the springiness of soft rubber. It shows the can on the left side. It shows wire through small nail holes, a can with 4 mil plastic film taped on for tight seal, or a piece of inner tube rubber. On the top, it's talking about 2 stop wires at right angles. Something about circular unattached valve about 3/4 an inch less in diameter than the can. In the middle, it shows tape. It's about 1 inch thick, and it's also 1 inch in the hole and 4 inches in diameter for the can. Page 79. Figure 8.11. Expedient filter to remove radioactivity from water. Okay, so it's showing on the bottom is the filtered water dripping into a pan. Above the pan is sticks over the pan. sticks over the pan. Right here, it's talking about nail holes in can. So I'm assuming something is right there. Above the sticks over pan, you have pebbles. So you have 1.5 inches of pebbles. Right here, you just have probably about 1/2 inch of sticks, it's looking like. It's talking about nail holes in can, but it's hard to say. I mean, it's just pointing right there. Above your pebbles, you have 6 to 7 inches of clayey soil. So probably your majority is going to be of clay soil. 6 to 7 inches. And on top, you have your, like radioactive water or whatever that you need to filter, which is about 3 inches. I mean, I don't know if it really matters. In between your water and your soil, and also above the pebbles, you have 2 porous cloths. So you're gonna put a cloth right above where beneath the water, over the clay, and then from between the clay and the pebbles, you're gonna put another cloth. And I'm assuming this is a can, and what this is talking about, the nail holes, is on bottom of the can. So you're gonna put some holes into there where it's gonna drip into your bottom pan. I'm assuming through the sticks into the filtered water. This is how you build your expedient filter to remove radioactivity from water. Around the home, this expedient filter can be built easily by proceeding as follows. Number 1, perforate the bottom of a 5-gallon can, a large bucket, a watertight waste basket, or a similar container with about a dozen nail holes. Punch the holes from the bottom upward, staying within about 2 inches of the center. Number 2, place a layer about 1.5 inches thick of washed pebbles or small stones on the bottom of the can. If pebbles are not available, twisted coat hanger wires or small sticks can be used. Number 3, cover the pebbles with 1 thickness of terry cloth towel, burlap sackcloth, or other quite porous cloth. Cut the cloth in a roughly circular shape about 3 inches larger than the diameter of the can. Number 4, take soil containing some clay. Almost any soil will do, from at least 4 inches below the surface of the ground. Nearly all fallout particles remain near the surface, except after deposition on sand or gravel. Number 5, pulverize the soil. Then gently press it in layers over the cloth that covers the pebbles, so that the cloth is held snugly against the sides of the can. Do not use pure clay, for instance, not porous enough, or sand, which is too porous. The soil in the can should be 6 to 7 inches thick. Number 6, completely cover the surface of the soil layer with 1 thickness of fabric as porous as a bath towel. This is to keep the soil from being eroded as water is poured into the filtering can. The cloth also will remove some of the particles from the water. A dozen small stones placed on the cloth near its edges will secure it adequately. Number 7. Support the filter can on rods or sticks placed across the top of a container that is larger in diameter than the filter can. A dishpan will do. The contaminated water should be poured into the filter can, preferably after allowing it to settle as described below. The filtered water should be disinfected by one of the previous described methods. If the 6 or 7 inches of filtering soil is a sandy clay loam, the filter initially will deliver about 6 quarts of clear water per hour. If the filtration rate is faster than about 1 quart in 10 minutes, remove the upper fabric and recompress the soil. After several hours, the rate will be reduced to about 2 quarts per hour. When the filtering rate becomes too slow, it can be increased by removing and rinsing the surface fabric, removing about a ½ inch of soil, and then replacing the fabric. The life of a filter is extended and its efficiency increased if muddy water is first allowed to settle for several hours in a separate container, as described below. After about 50 quarts have been filtered, rebuild the filter by replacing the used soil with fresh soil. Settling. Settling is one of the easiest methods to remove most fallout particles from water. Furthermore, if the water to be used is muddy or murky, settling it before filtering will extend the life of the filter. The procedure is as follows. Number 1. Fill a bucket or other deep container 3/4 full of the contaminated water. Number 2. Dig pulverized clay or clay soil from a depth of 4 or more inches below ground surface and stir it into the water. Use about 1 inch depth of YouTube. Page 80. Dry clay or dry clay soil for every 4-inch depth of water. Stir until practically all the clay particles are suspended in the water. Number 3. Let the clay settle for at least 6 hours. The settling clay particles will carry most of the suspended fallout particles to the bottom and cover them. Number 4. Carefully dip out or siphon the clear water and disinfect it. Settling and filtering. Although dissolved radioactive material usually is only a minor danger in fallout contaminated water, it is safest to filter even the clear water produced by settling. If an earth filter is available, finally, as always, the water should be disinfected. Post fallout replenishment of stored water. When fallout decays enough to permit shelter occupants to go out of their shelters for short periods, they should try to replenish their stored water. An enemy may make scattered nuclear strikes for weeks after an initial massive attack. Some survivors may be forced back into their shelters by the resultant fallout. Therefore, all available water containers should be used to store the least contaminated water within reach. Even without filtering, water collected and stored shortly after the occurrence of fallout will become increasingly safer with time, due particularly to the rapid decay of radioactive iodines. These would be the most dangerous contaminants of water during the first few weeks after an attack. And that was the end of chapter 8.